And guess what?
Tell
It's
me.
it's a cabin book.
You are nothing if not just on course with who you are as a person.
Yes.
You're loyal to yourself. You know who you are, and you're like, you know what? This is where I am comfortable. This is where I snuggle up. I love it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at What Have You Been Reading? My name is Carla.
And I'm Alex.
I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, should I say that during birth certificate time, my parents chose Carla? And then I was like, that's too long of an intro. Okay, so tell me,
Welcome
Alex,
to
what have you been reading?
where we talk about what we've been reading and what you've been reading and what everyone has been reading.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of check-ins from this week.
Ooh, fun, exciting. Okay, let's go.
Yes, I'm gonna get to it because it's been a while since we recorded and there's a lot to talk about.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things.
There's too
I
many.
don't think we're gonna make it.
We're gonna have to break these up into multiple episodes. Okay, so
That's gonna kill me.
let's power through what other people have been reading.
Okay.
So Flippin' Pages 10 on Instagram, who is super supportive of us on Instagram, and I'm so thankful to Paige. So thank you, shout out to Flippin'
Thank you,
Pages
Flippin'
10.
Pages.
They're always resharing our stuff and sharing our link, which is so great. They are reading Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. It is 1,000 pages long.
Is it good though? Are they into it?
They're into it. They said it's really dense, so it's taking them a really long time to get through it because they would normally read like 100 pages, and in this book they're reading like 10 to really comprehend the
Oh,
material.
snap.
It says it's a philosophical quest and screwball comedy, examines the pursuit of happiness in America via a halfway house and a tennis academy.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah. And then they were also reading Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Did you ever read that album?
Oh my God. No, but I watched the movie and I cried.
Can't believe I haven't read it, but in
Oh,
reading the little description, it sounds so cute and sad.
it will break it will destroy you emotionally, but it does it so nicely and so well.
Did it have like some good life insights though? Did you walk away feeling like you gained a little like pearl of wisdom? Do you
I don't
remember?
remember having I don't remember it changing me,
Yeah.
changing my life. No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. But it was good.
Hmm.
I don't gauge things by if it changes my life. I just really enjoyed it. I loved it. Was um it was it was heartbreaking. Like it does make you cry. Like I said,
Yeah.
it will make you cry. Like boogers, like tears.
Hmm. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That was The Winners for me by Frederik Bachman, the third book in the Beartown series. Oh man,
Hmm.
I was like ugly crying at like 1:30 in the morning, like with my shirt, wiping the boogers, trying not to wake up Jeff. I'm just like it was so good.
Jeff was Jeff was probably like, should I wake up for this?
Should I? Or is this
Is this a
should I
book or
interrupt? Is this a good? Okay. The Overbooked Ladies is or was reading On the Savage Side by Tiffany McDaniel, inspired by unsolved murders of six women. The Chillicothe Six was like the real life basis of it. But this is a story of two sisters that could become the next victims. What can go wrong when women? Oh, part of the description said what can go wrong when women don't fit a customary victim profile, which reminded me of our previous discussions on that topic in relation to the berry pickers.
and
And there was another book
also
that you read about an aunt that
um
disappeared in the hotel.
yeah, well, that one was not so much because of her race, but it was because of her age and
Yeah.
how easy it is to discount women of a certain age as like women that are just running away from their families and wanting to
Yeah.
like branch out. Yeah. But the other one was, I think it was I want to say it was Into the Woods or In the Woods, and it was questionable to me whether it was because it was on a Native American um I don't know what those are called, the Native American reservation.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was because of that because I never did find out what that acronym was for. I just couldn't find it. Like no matter how I Googled it, I could not figure
right.
out if it was that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe you'd find that one interesting.
Hmm.
That was on the Savage side. And then
Okay. And
Carly, go ahead.
but that was based on an unsolved case, so there is no resolution to the base case that started with this.
Not from like the three lines that I read on it, but I obviously didn't dig
Mm,
deep into it.
okay.
Ghent on the Block is reading the Bloodsworn trilogy by John Gwynne, and that includes The Shadow of the Gods, The Hunger of the Gods, and The Fury of the Gods, which I love that incremental title. The Shadow to the Hunger to
Whoa.
the Fury of the Gods. I mean, it's got me. Um,
So here's what happened. The
what
gods
happened?
got hungry and then they ate and they did not enjoy the food. They did not like the service, and thus came the fury.
So book one comes in at 528 pages, set in Norse-inspired world packed with myth, magic, and vengeance begins a new fantasy saga. So Carly and I have both read The Will of the Many, and she recommended Red Rising to me way back when, which you and I can talk about in this episode or the next episode. But I think this is kind of along those same lines of like an epic fantasy world.
Okay.
Um, and then Carly also had started the Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, which I talked about. God, it's been so long.
I don't know that it's been long in terms of episodes. I think it's been long in terms of recording times. Cause yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that you said that, I don't know, like maybe 3 months ago.
Oh, I don't think I've talked about the Spell Shop yet, but
The
I
Cinnamon
really,
Bookshop?
no, 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 the Spell Shop. No, I haven't
Oh,
talked about this one yet. I will save it for later, but I really enjoyed it. But it's like a little magical fantasy land.
okay.
Um, with a person that has goat horns. So excited to talk to you about it.
And as long as I don't have to read about it.
Yeah. Misty Ann 13 was reading Until August by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Have you heard of this one?
No.
It's a rediscovered novel. I think it's more of a short story. It's 114 pages, but I know you're a GGM fanatic.
Yes, I am.
Um, but it
I
was
saw
just
that you
published
posted
last year.
something on Instagram about it, but your Instagram post was like blocking, like I don't know what you did, but it blocked the name of the book and it was like, okay.
Aw, shame on
And
me.
you know how I am. I never follow up on anything, so I was like, okay, it's not for me.
Well, it was published last year because I guess I don't know if it was
Okay.
found and forgotten and refound, but it's the moving tale of female desire and abandon. Married for 27 years, the main character has an like annual affair with someone, anyone, not like one specific person, but once a year she leaves and has an affair. Um,
I want to say, I mean, self-care.
it says meditation on freedom, regret, self-transformation, and the mysteries of love. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
Jeff would like that very much, you know?
No, but obviously she's unhappy enough to do that. So you, like you've said before,
That's true.
you guys are Coca-Cola. You guys are not Diet Coke, right?
Right, right, right.
There you go.
And then Misty was going to start the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. So she's read all of
That's
the
the
drink.
one.
Yeah.
That's the
So
one I
this,
thought you were talking about.
yeah, that one's coming up as well. Gosh, we have so much to talk about.
No, you pick one, I'll pick one, and then we'll call it a day, and then we'll come back.
Okay,
at
so
another
last
point in time.
last social check-in was Rocket Boosta was reading Girls Against God by Jenny Haval.
Hmm.
1990s Norway time traveling horror novel slash feminist manifesto. It,
Damn, that's a long
it includes like a
sentence.
coven of witches and a death metal band.
Ow.
Yeah, it's a hard
Okay.
pass for me. She says she's loving
Okay.
it.
You know what? Coven of
What?
Witches is a good name for a death metal band.
Ooh.
It doesn't need to be parallel. It could intersect.
Dude, I bet you that's a band name. I bet there's a band with that name.
You know me, I'm not gonna follow up.
There's gotta be. Someone tell us. Someone Google it and put it in the comments. Hey guys, leave us a comment. Leave us a little review. Leave us
Tell
a
us
little
all about
love.
it. You know what? It doesn't
Because it
have to
makes
be
our
book
day.
related. Tell us about your day. Like, be
Flipping
like,
pages.
look, oh, you know what I would love to see?
What?
I would love to see something like, I got a coffee, they gave me the wrong milk, I was okay, my stomach made it.
The Flippin' Pages 10 sent me a message when they were listening to our Smut Talk podcast and saying how they were laughing out loud at work listening to all of our inappropriate discussion. And that made our day. I screenshotted it, I sent it to you. It made us so happy that we were,
I love it.
yeah, saying inappropriate things into their ear while they're trying to be productive at work. Love it.
I love I love interrupting a production day. A production day?
Productive.
A productive day?
One of
Look,
those.
you know, there was work and people were doing it and we came along and interrupted it and that was
People were
good.
doing it. So yeah, thank
People
you
were
everyone
doing the
for sharing.
work. Yes.
Thanks for sharing what you're reading. I love expanding beyond our bubbles and circles and hearing some other fun stuff that people are reading and being able to share those out. Which brings me to
Yeah.
Carla. What have you been reading?
I had asked you first and then
Oh,
you
oh,
reintroduced the podcast.
well, no, I had to go back to what people were reading.
Oh, that's true. But I had asked you first. Tell me what have you
Okay.
been reading?
Okay. I will start with The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. No, you know what? I'm going to save that one because if we don't have time, there's a larger discussion that I want to have. Main Characters by Hannah
The
Orenstein.
part of the just but I need to tell you, I saw the
Tell me.
rom-commers on my what's it called? My library app. And I was like, Alex would probably read that. Should I read that? And then I was like, no.
I did read it. And then I went on a Catherine Center binge because I loved the narrator on that one so
Oh.
much. Okay.
Okay. But
Okay.
no, don't talk about it.
But
Move
no,
forward to the other one.
I will come back to it. But if we run out of time, what I want to talk about is Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein. So this is an ARC. So it's an advanced reader copy that I got on NetGalley. It comes out on May 13th. And guess what?
Tell me.
It's a cabin book.
You are nothing if not just on course with who you are as a person.
Yes. I loved it. So it's like
You're
the family.
steadfast, you're loyal to yourself. You know who you are, and you're like, you know what? This is where I am comfortable. This is where I snuggle up. I love it.
I saw the cover, so on NetGalley you can kind of peruse what books are available for you to request. I saw this cover and I go, oh my God, this is the book for me. It's beautiful. It's got a lake house with an A-frame cabin with trees. Fuck me. I mean,
You
that's it.
love
That's all I want.
you love a lake parasite. You love it.
Come at me. Okay, so this one, there's sisters that didn't know about each other. They each would come to the lake house at different times during the summer and spend time with their dad. So the dad owned that lake house. And like one sister would be with the dad for, a month and then the other sister, but they never overlapped. The sister that lived in the lake town knew about the city sister. the city sister did not know that the other daughter existed. And they didn't find out about each other until the dad died, and they both went to the cabin. The like city sister was going to sell it and take care of stuff, and then the one that lived in the lake town was like, "No, you can't sell it." But the city sister was like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she goes, "I'm his daughter. I'm your half sister." And
Hold on.
then they go ahead.
What the fuck?
I know. Yeah.
Why?
Well,
And
I
the
mean, it
dad is dead, so he can't even answer for his emotional crimes?
exactly. Exactly.
Mm,
Mm,
mm.
mm, mm. So obviously a lot of like trauma and anger, a lot of grieving and grief, and like both of them dealing very differently with the loss of their dad because they viewed him very differently. Um, and what was interesting too is they both had very different cultural identities. So the dad was Jewish and he lived with his wife and the city daughter. And the city daughter was raised Jewish, or maybe, yeah. But then the one that lived in the lake town was raised by her mom for the majority of time and was not Jewish at all. So there was like cultural questions on like how you're raised. Like you can be half Jewish and not be raised with any of that culture,
Yeah,
and not identify with it at all, which I found very
yeah.
interesting. There was also um, this quote that hit
So,
really close to
so
home. Yeah.
I can kind of gather that what was happening was that the dad was married to the city sister's mom, and
Yes.
the lake house was where he came to do his philandering.
Well, no,
And
no, there's like the history there, but he did not continue the relationship with the Lake Town mom. But he had a Lake Town daughter that he would visit and hang out with. So he was not
okay,
having an affair for the whole time. But you have
I
these two
guess
daughters
that's
that are
better.
very close in age. Um,
Okay.
so there was this quote, even if she and Lucy can make peace with the wild disparities of their upbringing and forge a relationship, which still seems doubtful, they won't ever achieve that instinctual ease. That kind of bond is soldiered at birth, and they've never been given the chance. So right before this, it talked about like when you grow up with someone and you have all of these things in common and you experience all of these things together. And that hit so close to home with me and my half sisters that I met when I was 32, 33, 34. I don't know, somewhere around there. Um, and it's been great to get to know them, but I'll never have the relationship that they have with each other, right? Like two of them are twins, and then the other one obviously grew up with them, and they have obviously a history of being raised together. And no matter how much effort we make now, there's all of that time that's like you can't make up for it, you know?
Do you still consider yourself an only child?
I do. I think because I was raised as one.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I call them my sisters. I don't normally say like half sisters, but yeah, I think if someone asked me if I was an only child, no, I do say that I have sisters, but I always kind of explain, kind of my little spiel of my history.
Yeah. Okay.
But the other really interesting part that brought up is kind of like income disparities of how they were raised, right? So like the city daughter was raised with a lot of financial creature comforts, like had all of the money to go to college and vacations and do all of his stuff, whereas the daughter that grew up in the lake town was kind of broke and poor, and the dad supported her a little bit, but not as much. And it reminded me a lot of like a situation in my family where I have kind of that situation with some cousins who, like one of them recently found out about the other one that they're half brother and sister, and it was the same thing. Like one of them has gone on family vacations the whole time with like going all over the world. And then my other cousin is like had to do a GoFundMe so that she can like go travel abroad. And they have the same dad, but very, very different upbringings and financial like support growing up, which I This picture has got to be very, very difficult. But they've recently met and connected, and that has been so wonderful to see. But again, I'm like, it's so sad that they missed out on a whole childhood of growing up together because of adults.
That must be like very confusing emotionally because I'm sure that there's a lot of happiness in finding someone that you can connect with because you're a family member.
Mhm.
But there must also be like a sliver of resentment in the disparity that there is just because
Yeah,
of choices of parents and the lack of information and the lack of openness in one's own family. That must that must be super shitty to deal with. I
yeah.
can't imagine what that's like.
I
Yeah,
agree that it is very shitty, and I think it's been really hard for my cousin to handle. Yeah, it's shitty. It's shitty
because
because
here's the thing.
it put the whole family in a shitty situation where like you can't like I couldn't invite both of them to my wedding. I was told I couldn't, and I had to invite one or the other. And that really pissed me off. And I was too young at the time to like put my foot down on it. And I wish that I had been braver at the time
Yeah.
to be like, well, it's my wedding. And if you don't want to come, if they come, then that's your problem. But I didn't.
Well,
And I
there's
feel
a lot of
shitty about that.
fallout that you would have, I mean, that would have caused a lot of fallout and it would have caused conversations that obviously they didn't want to have. So
Yeah.
it's a difficult position to be in. And I I do want to clarify that I understand that growing up with or without money is not necessarily the end all be all because money is not everything. However, with the discussion of what you were given, when they could have given you equal amounts of money for you to be as comfortable as the other person,
Mhm.
um, there has to be a question of was it because they cared less? Was it because they thought less of the relationship that they had with me or what they saw me? I mean, there's so much like
Yeah.
underlying to financials. It has a lot to do with like self-worth in terms of
Yeah.
how you feel they may have seen you. That sucks. That's
It
bullshit.
does. It is a lot of bullshit. What's interesting in this book is that the daughter that grew up with less financial resources thought more highly of her dad. Like she seemed to get more quality time with him when they were together, and she also didn't have him as often. So I think she just enjoyed any time she got to spend with him, and he was more of himself when he was not obviously working or with his like full-time family in the city. So they had more of a quality relationship. Whereas the city daughter
Okay.
resented him a lot because he was kind of like he seemed to be very grumpy and working and probably obviously dealing with his own guilt of his relationship with his other daughter. But it was interesting that the one that
You're a
had
different
more,
person when you're on vacation.
yeah, oh, for
You're a
sure, I'm a
different
different
person when you're on
parent.
vacation. Yeah, you're a different human in terms of how you react to things, how you wake up, whether you're happy to be at dinner or not. Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
different person.
yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a
Mm,
very
mm.
interesting book. Aside from all of that, it had sunsets and wine on the dock overlooking the lake and boat rides and swimming in the lake and all of those things that I loved. So yeah, it was a great combination of the setting that I love with like some themes that hit really, really close to home. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I want my cabin house.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of my cousins who like have worked things out. And I'm really happy with my sisters that we've like been making an effort to get to know each other, even though there's like time that we've lost. And this was like a good reminder of that. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you guys are able to talk and that your cousins are able to talk and figure it out. I mean, that's a weird curveball to have.
Yeah, it's a very weird curveball. I'm really proud of them.
Good.
Yeah, anyhow, so that was Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein.
Okay.
Carla, what have you been reading?
Okay, so I finished Wolves of the Calla?
I think it's
Book
Calla.
number 5 of the Dark Tower. Calla? It's Callahan and it okay, Calla. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's Calla.
Anywho, I finished book 5 in Spanish and I still love it. Still love it. Woo woo.
We dance.
I'm so into the story. Obviously, the whole book is the lead up to like, you know, 2 pages of them actually seeing the wolves. But
Oh, we should say this
I
is
just love
book
it.
5 of the Dark Tower series,
Yes.
right? Yes.
Yes. Um, and then every single time that Oi was mentioned, I would like scrunch my face because I love him so much.
Aw.
And um I've always thought that the relationship between Jake and Benny, the kid that he befriends in that town, it's always super heartbreaking that Jake is not allowed to be a kid because of this huge responsibility that he has to basically save like all the universes.
Yeah.
It's so sad. And then also just like
Oh, wait, can
I
we pause
love
on that
Father
for a second?
Callahan. Yes.
So I forget what book Jeff was reading, or maybe it was a series, but it was something about like in order to save the world from like whatever outbreak zombie thing, like there's one child that holds the key, like the DNA. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
one kid that has to be sacrificed in order to cure the world. Does that sound
Oh,
familiar?
snap. No, but get that kid, man.
Well, that was like Jeff's thing is like I couldn't do it. Like I wouldn't sacrifice my child to save the world. Even if it's like saving 8 million people to give up my child. Like how like would you take your child to the place to say, here, take them and save the world,
No. But
right?
if it weren't my child,
So
and I'm
give me
saying
that
this as a
child.
person without children, I would, yeah, no, but yeah, if I knew what child it was, I'd be like, get that child. But if it were my child, I'd be like, hide that child.
Yeah. That's crazy though,
Yeah,
right? Like the self-sacrifice involved
it
in
would
some.
be, yeah, I don't know that that would be possible. Although, who knows? Because once you, like, if you put yourself in a situation where you have to think about the enormity of what would be lost,
What if
that's
you had
also,
other children that were like already getting sick and would be cured by
oh,
sacrificing the one child?
oh, snap. So then it's one child against other children
Ooh.
that you love equally. Okay, let's write that book, Alex. Anyway, okay. So, one thing that I do want to talk about is that I love Father Callahan. I love him as a character, but I'm very, very pro-choice. So there's a part of the book where Susanna is pregnant, right? And she
Hmm.
has that devil baby in her belly. And Roland is talking to the father. And he's like talking about, would the father's servant aid in, getting rid of the baby? And during that during that conversation, it's really fucked up to see how in the conversation that Callahan was having with Roland prior to him knowing that she was pregnant, he would call her by her name. He would call her Susanna. He would treat her as a full human. As soon as
Uh,
he knew that she was pregnant, and Roland asked about the possibility of the child. no longer being around, like abortion, um, she became the woman.
Oh,
And I was like, ah, Father Callahan, you were like,
you
you were
did me
up there, and
dirty.
like, and yeah, he's still one of my favorite characters because I do like his story arc of redemption, and I do like how he's just been like his character has been through such a crazy life,
Yeah.
and he's been in a super low part of life, and um he's been redeeming himself while being in this town, and just to see how it switched for him, how she stopped being a
Uh,
person
yeah.
basically, and she became an incubator. It really bothered me to see that, to see how she lost her name
Yeah.
in that conversation. That sucked.
Yeah.
So anyway, I still love that character. Um, and I love that book, yo. I love that book, and I like how it explores the different kinds of personalities. Um, I love how during the conversation with the townspeople, he points out that there are certain people that will go against you throughout, like the times where it's difficult to do something that's right.
Yeah.
And then once it works, those are the people that will be the loudest in saying that they always backed you up and that they were always right there
Mm.
alongside with you.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that I like these books so much, because it is really a character study. It is really like a study into human nature and to how
Yeah.
people are. And I really enjoy that. So,
I love
again,
that.
love the Dark Tower series.
Yay.
Yeah. So, that's that.
Um, that's great. Did you finish Red Rising or no? Not yet.
So, I got super into it and then it kind of lost me. I
Yeah.
don't know. I did
Okay.
not continue it. But
Do
I
you want to
am
end
pretty
on the
deep into it.
parable of the sower just because that was so recent for book club?
Holy smokes, that book.
So the parable
Yeah.
of the sower by Octavia
Butler.
Butler. You want to give a little info on it?
Okay, you guys. So basically, here's the dealio. Okay, so the world has gone to total shit, and this story follows Lauren, who lives within a walled-in community, and her dad is a preacher, and her mom is no longer around. Her dad has remarried, and and the new wife has had, I think it was what, three children? Three children, yes.
Yeah.
So she has three male siblings. She is the oldest. So everybody seems to get along fine. Um,
Well, her one brother was a
except that,
dick.
the world is falling apart. Oh yeah, Keith was such a dick. Everybody seemed to
Okay.
get along fine except that one kid.
So the interesting thing about this book is that it was published in 1993 and takes place in 2020.
Yeah.
It starts in 2024 and goes through 2027, I think.
I thought it was 2028.
Or maybe it's 2028. Yeah, it could be. But it's told in like journal entries from Lauren's point of view during this like dystopian setting. But it's become popular now because so many people are relating it to like the fires in LA, Donald Trump, and like rolling back all of these like
The fact
workplace
that we have
protections,
measles
environmental
again.
protections. Yeah. So there's talk in the book about like companies going back to like indentured servitude, right? Where you have to work for the company and live on company property and
Yeah.
you get paid in company script and you can only buy stuff from the company store and it's super expensive, which reminds me of, was it the Underground
Yeah.
Railroad? Remember that?
I
Well, you
don't.
know, slavery. Yeah, it was a bit much for me. I
Yeah.
talked in book club that it was, I mean, there's a lot of graphic scenes and it's a little depressing. I didn't love the format of it, but it was an interesting read.
I didn't mind its format. I did mind the religious aspect of it.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
said in
So,
book club, it felt kind of like she was starting like a new cult.
well, she was, and she talks about it. Did you finish it?
I'm an hour out.
Okay. So yeah, her whole thing is like starting a community based on Earthseed, right? Is what she calls her like belief system. God is
Hmm.
change, change is God. But yeah, it is a lot of religion. And I think that's also kind of what why I zoned out very early on is that that started very early in the book. And I was like, it's like theology and religion, which is not my jam.
It is my jam. I like it. I like knowing about that kind of stuff. However, um, I don't know if it was that and like what was happening in her life that it just didn't connect with me.
Yeah.
However, I do like what she's saying, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the stuff that she was saying. Basically, like you have to learn how to survive and you have to learn how to work with other people that don't
Yeah.
look like you, that don't think like you. You have to like make things work amongst each other. And I do like that. And
Yeah.
I also liked, wait a second, am I part of the cult?
You're part of the Earthseed community. I
I
do feel
did.
cooler. I mentioned this at book club. I do feel cooler that I can say I've read the book. I feel like it's one of those books that I can get kind of brownie points, maybe. Carla had to jump off for a work call. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us and listening to what we've been reading. We have obviously so many more books to discuss, so we can't wait to share all of those with you guys in our future episodes. Happy reading.